A woman noticed something strange on the highway. There were no cars on the road, but a truck was traveling at a very slow speed. Without thinking, Mary accelerated to overtake the truck, but the next moment the truck suddenly accelerated to overtake her and even honked its horn as it passed, as if to provoke Mary. Mary had never encountered such a person before and wondered if he was suffering from road rage, so she slowed down to let the truck go first. But as soon as she slowed down, the truck slowed down right behind her, as if they were fighting with her. Mary couldn't stand it any longer, so she stepped on the gas and decided to speed up and lose the truck. She thought she could keep her distance from the truck, but when she looked in the rear mirror, she saw that the truck had accelerated again, and this time it was even crazier, almost hitting the back of her car. Mary was annoyed, but there was nothing she could do about it. She accelerated again, trying to distance herself from the truck, which was doing 120 miles an hour. But the next moment, the truck caught up with her and made a dangerous maneuver, driving side by side with her on the highway. She couldn't shake the truck off, so she slammed on the brakes and let the truck pass her. Seeing that the truck was so crazy, Mary did not want to overtake it again, so she planned to drive at a low speed and follow it a little slower, but at least it was relatively safe. However, seeing that Mary did not want to overtake the truck, the driver suddenly held out his hand and shook it to indicate that Mary could overtake the truck. Mary was confused by the driver's maneuver. Thinking of her sick mother waiting for her, she accelerated again to overtake, but the truck driver, as if he was spoofing her, saw Mary speeding up and he also accelerated and kept on jamming Mary, not letting her change lanes. Seeing a car coming from the opposite direction, Mary had to brake and give way to the truck driver, who could have been involved in an accident if she had reacted slower. Mary was scared out of her wits. She no longer dared to follow the truck, so she pulled over to the side of the road to rest and let the truck get farther away. But she completely underestimated the other side and almost got into an accident. After about 10 minutes or so, Mary felt that the time was almost up. She started the car and drove again, but she drove slower for fear that she would run into the truck again. After half an hour or so of driving, she never saw the truck again, but she did see an accident. She pulled over because the victim seemed to be an acquaintance of hers. After talking to them, she found out that their daughter had been in an accident here last night, but the police investigated and thought it was a DUI. But they remembered that their daughter never drank. But last night a bottle was found at the scene of the accident and both of them found it hard to accept the result. When Mary heard that, she thought about the strange truck she ran into today, and wondered if it had anything to do with him. Thinking of this, Mary has been scared a little back, cold heart silently for their own luck and thankful. After comforting the two men, Mary went on her way again, thinking she had gotten rid of the truck completely. But not long after she got on the road, the truck that scared her reappeared and chased after her from behind quickly. The woman realized something terrible when a truck on the highway accelerated towards her, and it was the same truck that had been stopping her earlier. Mary was nervous and wondered what he would do this time. Soon the truck was at the rear of her car, and in order to distance herself from the truck, Mary stepped on the gas and increased her speed. But the truck didn't seem to want to let her go. He immediately accelerated and ran right into the back of Mary's car. Mary had to speed up again, but the truck accelerated again. Mary was furious and cursed, but the truck didn't stop. So if she didn't pay attention, it could be a tragedy. So she kept looking for a chance to brake and turn around to get back behind the truck. However, the driver of the truck had already seen Mary's intention and began to sneak around on the highway, forcing Mary to stay in front. It didn't look like getting behind the truck was going to work. So she saw a sign on the side of the road that said there was a cafe 5 kilometers away. So she increased her speed to over 120 and tried to get to the cafe before calling the police. But some parts of the road were already covered with snow and ice, so she had no choice but to slow down. But as soon as she slowed down, the truck behind her immediately accelerated and hit her. 2 consecutive impacts caused Mary's car to run out of control and run off the road. Fortunately, the truck did not continue to hit her, but chose to leave, which also gave Mary a chance to catch her breath. After waking up from her coma, she drove straight to the cafe, and when she sat down, she realized that the truck was also parked outside, and it seemed that the truck driver was also inside the cafe. Mary looked around at the customers as if trying to figure out who the truck driver was. When the waitress came over, Mary wanted to use the phone to call the police, but the waitress didn't want to talk to her when she ordered an ice water and told her to pay up and leave. Frightened by the waiter's attitude, Mary took a knife from the table to defend herself. After a moment's rest, Mary looked out the window and saw the truck leaving the cafe, which was a relief to her nervousness. Time went by and she thought of her sick mother waiting for her. She didn't dare to delay any longer. She left the cafe and went on her way. The time was fast approaching evening and Mary's gas tank was almost full. Just as she was praying that she wouldn't run into that truck again, it reappeared like glue. In order to get away from the truck, Mary pulled into a side street and turned off all the lights, thinking she could avoid him under the cover of night. But he was like a ghost, driving straight down the side street and blocking Mary in. Mary had no choice but to drive along the road, and the truck was following her, speeding up whenever she slowed down. After driving for a while, she suddenly saw a sign for ice a kilometer ahead and had an idea. This time, she turned passive into active. She stopped and started to lure the truck to follow her in order to provoke him. Then Mary drove onto another side road, which was completely covered in ice, and if she didn't know the terrain well, she wouldn't have known where the ice was. And Mary had grown up in this area, so she knew it very well. Just as the truck was about to hit her, Mary suddenly opened the window and jumped out, and because of the slippery ice, the truck pushed the cart along the road. The weight of the two vehicles finally cracked the ice, and as the ice broke, the whole truck fell into the river. In the end, Mary walked all the way home on her legs, and her mother stabilized thanks to her sister's